Napoleon Hill spent 2 decades studying the minds of the most successful people in history and discovered that every single one of them possessed a mental force so powerful it could literally bend reality to their will. And the most shocking revelation was that this force had nothing to do with talent, intelligence, or circumstances, but everything to do with a specific type of faith that operates like a magnet, pulling your desires from the invisible realm into physical form. What you are about to discover is not religious faith, and it is not blind hope. This is a scientifically precise mental technology that, when activated correctly, transforms you from someone who wishes for success into someone who commands it. Only a handful of people in every generation figure this out, and those are the ones who seem to live charmed lives where everything they touch turns to gold. This knowledge has been hidden in plain sight for almost a century, and today I am going to break it down so clearly that you will wonder why no one ever taught you this before. Pay close attention, because understanding this principle is the difference between a life of struggle and a life of effortless achievement. Before we go deeper, hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel exists to give you the exact mental tools that separate dreamers from achievers. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the strategies that will fundamentally change how you create your reality. Let me start by telling you a story that will change how you see everything. In 1908, a young, ambitious journalist named Napoleon Hill received a letter that would alter the course of his entire life. The letter was from Andrew Carnegie, who at that time was one of the richest and most powerful men in the world. Carnegie had built a steel empire from nothing, and he had a theory. He believed that success was not random. He believed there was a formula, a set of principles that anyone could learn and apply to achieve extraordinary results. Carnegie invited Hill to his mansion and made him an offer. He said, "I will introduce you to the most successful people in America. You will interview them, study them, and extract the common patterns in how they think. Then you will spend years documenting these principles so that ordinary people can use them. But I will not pay you. You will have to support yourself during this research. The question is, are you willing to commit 20 years of your life to this mission without any guarantee of compensation?" Hill had less than 60 seconds to decide. Carnegie was testing him. He wanted to see if Hill had the faith to commit to something massive without knowing how it would turn out. Hill said yes, and that decision changed everything. Over the next 2 decades, Hill interviewed over 500 of the most successful individuals of his time: Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Theodore Roosevelt, John D. Rockefeller, Alexander Graham Bell. He studied their habits, their thought patterns, their philosophies, and what he discovered became the foundation for his masterpiece, Think and Grow Rich, which has sold over 100 million copies and influenced more lives than perhaps any other book on success. But here is what most people miss when they read that book. They focus on the tactics, the goal setting, the planning, the persistence. All of that is important. But Hill said over and over again that there was one principle that stood above all the others, one force that made everything else work. He called it faith, but not the kind of faith you learned in church, not the kind where you hope and pray and wait for God to do something. Hill was talking about applied faith, active faith, creative faith, the kind of faith that does not ask if something is possible, but assumes it is already done, and then moves forward as if the outcome is guaranteed. Hill discovered that every single successful person he interviewed had this quality. They did not hope they would succeed. They knew they would succeed, and that knowing was not based on evidence. It came before the evidence. It created the evidence. This is the part that most people cannot wrap their heads around. We have been trained to believe that we need proof before we can have faith. We say, "I will believe it when I see it." But Hill found that successful people operate from the exact opposite principle. They believe it first, and then they see it. Their faith is not a response to reality. Their faith creates reality. Now let me explain why this works and how you can use it. Most people think that reality is fixed. They think the circumstances around them are solid, unchangeable facts. But modern science, especially quantum physics, has proven that this is not true. At the subatomic level, reality is not solid. It is a field of infinite probabilities. Particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until they are observed. The act of observation collapses the probability wave and turns potential into actuality. Now, I am not saying you can just wish for $1 million and it will appear in your bank account. That is not how this works. But what I am saying is that your mental state, your beliefs, your focus, and your expectations play a much larger role in shaping your reality than you have been taught to believe. Here is a simple way to understand it. Your brain has a filter called the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. Every second, millions of bits of information are flooding into your senses. You cannot process all of it consciously, so your RAS decides what gets through. And how does it decide? It looks at what you have told it is important. Have you ever decided to buy a certain car, and then suddenly you see that car everywhere? The cars were always there. But now your RAS is filtering for them because you signaled that they matter. The same thing happens with opportunities, with money, with relationships, with everything. If you have programmed your RAS to look for lack and limitation, that is what you will see. But if you program it to look for abundance and possibility, that is what you will see. Faith is the programming language of your RAS. When you have faith in a specific outcome, you are telling your brain, this is real, this is important, find me the path to this. And your brain goes to work. It starts noticing things you would have missed. It starts connecting dots that seemed unrelated. It starts guiding you toward people, circumstances, and ideas that align with your vision. This is not magic. This is neuroscience. Your brain is a goal-seeking mechanism. Give it a clear target, and it will find a way to hit it. But if you give it doubt and uncertainty, it will just spin in circles. Napoleon Hill said that faith is the starting point of all accumulation of riches. Notice he did not say hard work is the starting point. He did not say education or connections or talent. He said faith. Because without faith, you will not take the necessary risks. You will not persist through obstacles. You will not recognize opportunities when they appear. You will play small. You will settle. You will quit too soon. But with faith, you become unstoppable. You move through the world with a certainty that unnerves people. You make bold decisions. You take massive action. And you do it all without needing permission or validation from anyone because your faith is your permission. But here is the key. Faith is not something you either have or do not have. It is something you build. It is a skill. It is a muscle. And like any muscle, it gets stronger with use. Most people wait to feel faith before they take action. But that is backwards. You build faith by taking action. Every time you do something that scares you and you survive, your faith grows. Every time you set a goal and hit it, your faith grows. Every time you trust yourself and it works out, your faith grows. Faith is not a prerequisite for action. Faith is the result of action. Let me give you a practical example. Let us say you want to start a business, but you have no money, no experience, and no connections. Your logical mind says this is impossible, but someone with applied faith does not ask if it is possible. They ask, what is the first step? Maybe the first step is learning a skill. Maybe it is reaching out to someone for advice. Maybe it is creating a simple offer and testing it. They do not need to see the whole staircase. They just take the first step. And when they take that step, something shifts. A door opens, an idea comes, a person appears. Not because the universe is magical, but because action creates momentum, and momentum creates opportunities. Hill called this the principle of autosuggestion. He said that you can impress any thought or desire upon your subconscious mind through repetition and emotion. Your subconscious mind does not reason, it does not judge, it simply accepts what you feed it, and then works to make it real. If you feed it thoughts of failure and lack, it will create circumstances that match. But if you feed it thoughts of success and abundance, it will create circumstances that match. This is why affirmations work when done correctly. Not because words have magic power, but because repetition with emotion rewires your subconscious programming. Most people try affirmations and they do not work. Why? Because they say the words, but they do not feel them. They say, "I am wealthy," while feeling broke. Their subconscious rejects the message because there is no emotional conviction behind it. But if you say, "I am wealthy," and you generate the actual feeling of wealth in your body as if it were already true, then your subconscious accepts it. And once your subconscious accepts it, your behavior changes. You start acting like a wealthy person. You start making decisions like a wealthy person. And eventually, your external reality catches up to your internal reality. Napoleon Hill interviewed a man named Henry Ford who started with nothing and built one of the largest automobile companies in the world. Ford said, "Whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you are right." That statement is the essence of faith. Your belief does not reflect reality. Your belief creates reality. Ford did not believe he could mass-produce cars because it had been done before. He believed it before anyone had done it. And that belief gave him the audacity to try things others would not try. When people told him it was impossible, he did not argue. He just kept building, and his faith became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Here is another critical insight. Faith is contagious. When you operate from true faith, people feel it. They do not know why, but they trust you. They want to work with you. They want to invest in you. They want to be around you. This is because faith creates a certain energy, a certain presence. Psychologists call it self-efficacy. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can handle whatever comes your way. People with high self-efficacy do not brag. They do not need to prove anything. They just move through the world with calm certainty. And that certainty draws resources toward them. On the flip side, fear is also contagious. When you operate from doubt and insecurity, people feel that too. They hesitate. They pull back. They do not want to take risks with you. This is not because they are judging you. It is because uncertainty creates uncertainty. Your energy affects everyone around you. So when you cultivate faith, you are not just changing yourself. You are changing the entire field of possibility around you. Now let me address the biggest objection. People say faith is great, but I have tried to believe in myself, and nothing changed. I have tried positive thinking, and I am still broke. Here is what they are missing. Faith without action is worthless. Hill called it applied faith because it must be applied. You cannot sit on your couch visualizing success and expect the world to rearrange itself. Faith is not passive. Faith is the most active force there is. It compels you to move. It compels you to take risks. It compels you to show up even when you do not feel ready. Think of faith like a bridge. You cannot see the other side from where you are standing, but you step onto the bridge anyway. And as you walk, the next plank appears. And then the next. Faith is not about seeing the whole path. Faith is about taking the next step, even when you cannot see where it leads. Every successful person Hill interviewed had moments where they had no idea how things would work out. But they moved forward anyway. and in the process of moving forward, the how revealed itself. There is a concept in psychology called the Zeigarnik effect. It says that your brain is wired to complete unfinished tasks. Once you start something, your subconscious mind keeps working on it even when you are not consciously thinking about it. This is why solutions often come to you in the shower or right before you fall asleep. Your subconscious has been processing in the background. Faith activates this mechanism. When you commit to a goal with faith, you are telling your subconscious, "This is a task we are completing. Find me the solution." And your subconscious goes to work. It scans your environment for resources. It makes connections you did not see before. It nudges you toward actions that move you closer to your goal. But if you approach your goal with doubt, your subconscious does not engage. It thinks, "Oh, this is just a wish, not a real commitment." And so it does not allocate resources to it. This is why most people never achieve their dreams. Not because they are not capable, but because they never fully commit. They keep one foot in and one foot out. They hedge, they make backup plans, and their subconscious reads that as this is not really important. But when you burn the boats, when you go all in with faith, your subconscious has no choice but to engage fully. Napoleon Hill tells the story of Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before inventing a working light bulb. People asked him how he kept going after so many failures. Edison said, "I did not fail. I just found 10,000 ways that did not work." That is applied faith. He did not see failure as evidence that it was impossible. He saw each attempt as data that brought him closer to success. His faith was not shaken by temporary setbacks because his faith was not based on circumstances. It was based on an internal knowing that the solution existed and he would find it. Here is the formula Hill extracted from all his research. First, you must have a definite purpose. You must know exactly what you want. Vague wishes do not activate faith. Specificity does. Second, you must develop a burning desire for that purpose. Lukewarm interest will not cut it. You need obsession. You need a fire in your belly that makes quitting impossible. Third, you must create a plan. Faith is not about sitting around waiting for miracles. It is about taking intelligent action. Fourth, you must take persistent action on that plan, not occasional action, not action only when you feel like it. Relentless daily action. And fifth, you must maintain unwavering faith throughout the process. Even when it looks like nothing is happening, even when people tell you to give up, even when logic says it is over, you keep believing. This is not easy. In fact, it is one of the hardest things a human being can do, because our brains are wired for survival, not for success. Our brains are designed to keep us safe, and safe means familiar. Even if familiar is miserable, at least it is predictable. Taking risks is uncomfortable. Having faith in something you cannot see is uncomfortable. Your brain will scream at you to stop. It will throw every doubt, every fear, every worst-case scenario at you. And most people listen to that voice. They let fear win. But the people who achieve extraordinary things are the ones who feel the fear and do it anyway. They acknowledge the doubt, but they do not let it control them. Faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is acting in spite of fear. Courage is not about being fearless. Courage is about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And every time you do that, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your fear. Your faith deepens, your confidence grows, and what once felt terrifying starts to feel normal. This is how you expand your comfort zone. Not by thinking about it, but by doing the thing that scares you and realizing you are okay. Let me give you a visualization exercise that Napoleon Hill taught. Every night before you go to sleep, close your eyes and see yourself already in possession of the thing you desire. Do not see yourself wanting it. See yourself having it. If you want financial freedom, see yourself checking your bank account and seeing the number you want to see. Feel the relief. Feel the joy. Feel the gratitude. Make it so real that your body responds as if it is happening now. Do this every single night. What you are doing is programming your subconscious mind. You are creating a memory of the future. And your subconscious does not know the difference between a real memory and a vividly imagined one. So it starts to treat your desire as something that has already happened. And once your subconscious believes it is real, your conscious behavior will align with that belief. Hill also emphasized the power of surrounding yourself with people who support your faith. He called this the mastermind principle. When two or more minds come together in harmony, they create a third invisible force that is greater than the sum of its parts. If you are around people who doubt you, their doubt will infect you. But if you surround yourself with people who believe in you, their belief will lift you. This is not about finding cheerleaders. This is about finding people who are also operating from faith. People who are building, people who are taking risks, people who refuse to settle. Their energy will reinforce yours, and together you will achieve things that would be impossible alone. One of the most profound things Hill said is that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Most people experience a setback and they see it as proof that they should give up. But people with faith see setbacks as redirection. They ask, what is this teaching me? What door is closing so that a better door can open? This does not mean you pretend to be happy when bad things happen. It means you trust that even the hard things are part of the path. Some of the most successful people Hill interviewed had experienced devastating failures, but those failures forced them to pivot, and the pivot led them to something even better than what they originally wanted. This is the paradox of faith. You must be absolutely committed to your goal, but flexible about the path. You must hold your vision with an iron grip, but hold your plans with an open hand. Because the universe often has a better plan than you do. Your job is to stay focused on the what and let the how reveal itself. When you do this, you stop forcing, you stop controlling, you start flowing, and flow is where miracles happen. Let me talk about fear of failure because this is the biggest thing that stops people from activating faith. We are terrified of looking foolish. We are terrified of wasting time. We are terrified of being wrong. But here is the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Every successful person has failed more than most people have even tried. The difference is they did not let failure define them. They failed forward. They extracted the lesson, and they kept going. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times, but he did not see himself as a failure. He saw himself as someone who was learning. And that reframe made all the difference. You have to redefine what failure means. Failure is not trying and falling short. Failure is not trying at all. Failure is letting fear win. Failure is living a small life because you were too scared to bet on yourself. When you see it that way, the risk of trying becomes smaller than the risk of not trying. Because the biggest regret people have at the end of their lives is not the things they tried and failed at. It is the things they never tried because they were afraid. Napoleon Hill said that the only limitation is the one you set up in your own mind. Think about that. The only thing stopping you is you, not your circumstances, not your past, not other people. You, your beliefs, your doubts, your fears. And here is the empowering part. If you created those limitations, you can also remove them. You are not a victim of your mind. You are the master of your mind. But you have to claim that mastery. You have to take responsibility. You have to stop blaming and start building. Faith gives you that power. Faith says, I am not where I want to be yet, but I am on my way. Faith says, I do not know how this will work out, but I trust that it will. Faith says, I am scared, but I am doing it anyway. Faith is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And the beautiful thing is, you do not have to have perfect faith. You just have to have enough faith to take the next step, and then the next, and then the next. One step at a time, you will walk yourself into a completely different life. Let me share something Hill learned from his interview with Henry Ford. Ford said that he did not invent the automobile to make money. He invented it because he had a vision of a world where transportation was accessible to everyone. The money came as a result of that vision, but the vision came first. This is a critical distinction. Most people chase money, but money is just energy. It is a byproduct. What you should be chasing is impact. What you should be chasing is contribution. What you should be chasing is becoming the person who is capable of creating value. When you focus on that, the money follows. But if you focus only on money, you miss the point, and you end up miserable even if you get rich. Faith is about aligning with something bigger than yourself. It is about having a purpose that pulls you forward. It is about being part of a mission that matters. When you have that kind of faith, you do not need external motivation. You are internally driven. You wake up with energy. You go to bed fulfilled. You do not watch the clock because you love what you are doing. That is what Hill meant when he said that the starting point of all achievement is desire. Not just any desire, burning desire. The kind of desire that consumes you. The kind that makes you willing to sacrifice comfort for growth. The kind that makes you unstoppable. Now let me give you a challenge. For the next 30 days, I want you to act as if your success is inevitable. Not hope, not wish. Act as if. Make decisions from that place. Speak from that place. Show up from that place. When doubt creeps in, and it will acknowledge it, but do not let it stop you. Say thank you for trying to protect me, but I am moving forward anyway. Treat doubt like a backseat driver. You hear it, but you do not let it steer. Do this for 30 days and watch what happens. Watch how your energy shifts. Watch how opportunities appear. Watch how people respond to you differently. You will be amazed. Faith is not a one-time decision. It is a daily practice. It is a choice you make over and over again. Some days will be easy. Some days will be hard. But every day you choose faith, you are building something. You are becoming someone. And that someone is the person who will live the life you dream about. Not someday. Soon. Because faith accelerates everything. It collapses timelines. It makes the impossible possible. And it all starts with a decision. The decision to believe. The decision to trust. The decision to move forward even when you cannot see the path. Napoleon Hill concluded his research with this statement. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That is not a platitude. That is a law. It is as reliable as gravity. Your mind is the most powerful force in your life, and faith is the activator. Faith turns potential into reality. Faith turns dreams into plans. Faith turns plans into action, and action creates results. This is the sequence. This is the formula, and it works every single time for anyone who applies it. But you have to start. You have to take the first step. You have to choose faith over fear. And you have to do it today, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. Because tomorrow is not guaranteed, and readiness is a myth. You will never feel completely ready. If you wait until you feel ready, you will wait forever. The time is now. The person is you, and the power is faith. Use it. Trust it. and watch your reality transform. If this message resonated with you, it is not an accident. You were meant to hear this today. You were meant to be reminded of your power. You were meant to be called higher. And now you have a choice. You can close this video and go back to the life you have been living. Or you can make today the day everything changes. The day you decided to activate your faith. The day you stopped waiting and started creating. Subscribe to this channel right now because I am committed to giving you the tools, the strategies, and the mindset shifts that actually work. Not theory, not fluff. Real principles based on real success. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and then go take action on what you just learned. Choose one area of your life where you have been operating from doubt and replace it with faith. See yourself succeeding. Feel it. Speak it. Act on it. Do this every day, and your life will never be the same. 30 days from now, you will look back at this moment as the turning point. The moment you stopped being a spectator and became a creator. Subscribe now and let's build the life you were born to live.